Part 1 was the building of the boxes. Part 2 is the finishing. We're still not cabinet makers. Welcome to KinCraft.
Welcome indeed. As you can see, we're starting this video, I'd say, a little different than normal. We're at the finished job site. Now, yes, it is sort of cluttered up right now, and that's for a reason, but we're at the finished site nonetheless, and that is simply because we didn't get the footage that we wanted for this build to make this video what we wanted to make it, and there was ample reason for that. So as things sit right now, Touch of Spice is the bread and butter of KinCraft. So ultimately we hit a point where we had to take a stop, take a break from filming simply to get this done. We were doing this right around Christmas of 25, okay? So we had Christmas going for us. We had our first ever cabinet build. Stress was at a peak, and so ultimately we had to stop videoing and just get to the grind of building things. And so that's why we're here doing it this way, a little bit different. We're gonna walk you piece by piece, show you the mess ups that we had along the way, show you some of the successes that we had, but ultimately, as you can see, it's done, it's in. It probably looks different than the plans that you might have saw, and we'll get there. But let's dive into part 2.
So this wall and partial corner were the only real cabinets that went to plan kind of through and through. There was one minor hiccup with an outlet being lower than it should be, but we fixed that and it all worked out. We're gonna deep dive into the actual process of staining and finishing of these and all the cabinets and the island as well, with voiceover and footage that we did get, but this went really well. Building, staining, finishing, all of it.
All right, so if you watched part 1, we built the cabinets. And here in part 2, this is where we finish them. And like we mentioned, we did not get the footage that we wanted for this, so there's gonna be a bit of jumping back and forth from the finished house to this. But ultimately, this is where we realized we're not cabinet guys. We're furniture makers who live in the world of Rubio monocoat. One coat, wipe it on, looks beautiful, and done. And well, this ain't that. And so this whole video is basically us trying to figure out how cabinet guys do this every single day and why they deserve every dollar that they charge.
On to the actual process we used. Though not doing a lot of quote-unquote cabinet work up until this time, we knew the basics and learned from ours and others' mistakes. We used a pre-stain since other times without, the final product would end up blotchy. And the color was this earthy but just neutral enough brown that went really well with the colors of their home. Pre-stain was applied with a foam brush, allowed to sit for 15 minutes before being wiped off. And one thing to note is that your preconditioner needs to match the base of your stain you are using. If you use a water-based stain, then use a water-based conditioner. And if you use an oil-based stain, then use an oil-based conditioner. Now to be fair, it's not like we've never stained before. Back when we were a smaller, more DIY style shop, we did a lot of hand staining, poly, and even some lacquer work. That's how we started, but it was never to this scale and definitely not tied to this kind of job and pricing we're working with now. And the process of staining is just like any other video you've seen on YouTube. You wipe it on, let it sit, wipe it off, and try to keep it as even as possible. The process of staining was fairly straightforward. The process of installation was not, though. Minor hiccups, but there were some. So Logan, would you like to deep dive into those?
Alrighty, as Tanner said, that side well, this side bad. Not necessarily bad, just a learning experience for us along the way on our first ever cabinet build. And the big thing that I think I can say that we did learn is when you're here on site measuring, you might just check every measurement that you can possibly even think could happen or could go wrong. Because what we found was when we pulled our measurement from this corner to the start of this window, it was exactly where we needed it to be for the lay of these cabinets. Perfect. Where we pulled the measurement to where that door is on the far side, again, everything laid perfectly out in terms of the space that we had. What we did not measure was that those spaces were correct. So what we should have done was then measure to the center of this window, where we would have found that this window is not a 36-inch window like the plan said. This window is in fact a 42-inch window. That's what, 6 inches of a difference? So in theory, when we came to set these cabinets, we were 3 inches off on each side. So our sink cabinet was pushed way this way, being 6 inches off of center. Luckily for us, clients were very good to work with in this instance, so we explained to them everything, met here on site actually with them, and went over some options that we could do. The option that everybody agreed on was simply just basically making a spacer here, and we made it look like a door. We followed our same 1/8" gaps in terms of the full overlay. And then over here, we just took out our bank of drawers that we had built. Now granted, it got used in one of the bedrooms, so it's still getting used by the client, just not where it originally was planned to be used. From there, same concept. This side then was pushed off that ample amount, pushing everything towards this door over here. All right, and because of that, our 30" cabinet that we had spec'd out to go right here would no longer fit. So again, same concept, we met here with them, and we decided to go with a floating shelf. We were gonna rebuild the cabinet just to a smaller spec, but the client decided on floating shelves being here as a decorative aspect. And I think overall, personally speaking, I think that was the right move.
From the stain, we're on to spraying our pre-cat lacquer, and this is where things start to feel a little more real. With Rubio, you apply it and things look finished instantly, but with stain, it sort of looks dull until this point. We've got our inflatable spray booth up, door cart ready to go, and everything laid out, so once we start spraying, we're not scrambling around trying to figure it out, because with this, once you start, you're sort of in for it. And let me go ahead and just say this for you. This might only be a minute and a half in this video, but this took way longer in real life. Like, way longer. And that's because here we're only showing the first coat, but the process was far more extensive. We would spray the first coat of lacquer, let it fully dry and harden, sand it, spray a second coat, let it fully dry and harden, sand it, spray a third coat. And that was just one side of these doors. So I think you can understand why a finish with the name monocoat in it, we like far more.
Take two. So, do you notice anything a little odd about the fridge, maybe a little off? Well, in the part one of this, we talked about having, having to encapsulate the fridge and build it. I joked about having it just be a mini fridge, but clients didn't want that. But we inevitably took off both side panels of the fridge because, like Logan said earlier, with the window being 6 inches off, it would have pushed everything to where it would lay right about here. So we took it off. Clients were super easy to work with and agreed to just take it off and have the bare fridge. For this upper cabinet here, instead of extending it out fully, that 30 inches, since that would look really odd since you have 12-inch floating shelves, we moved it back to the typical upper cabinet depth and matched everything we could to every other side panel and face frame ending as we could with the 1/8" overhang and how everything laid out. That's about that. But now we are on to this behemoth. So I talked in an earlier talking head, I don't know if you saw it, but this was old construction mixed with new construction, and where we are is the old house, and this was built, I couldn't even tell you how long ago. So the concrete on it was settled, it was pretty wavy, and it was just not level. So the contractors came in, leveled it all, but in doing so, pushed the ceiling and floor closer together in certain spots. So in certain spots you'd have 96 inches, you'd have 94 inches, 92 inches, all these different waves compared to the ceiling. So we had this spec'd out to be 8 foot tall. Didn't work out. We had to go and cut the toe kick down to 2 3/4, 3-inch toe kick, which is not necessarily ideal. You can get your foot under there, but if you got some big feet, it might get hit. On top of that, we had to make sure we were off the wall enough so that the door would open and close without rubbing and digging into the drywall. So that was a little bit finicky, trying to make sure it looked good, that you can't sight a gap down the wall in the actual unit. And overall, it does look really good. It works well. Our gaps are even. And that's about that for this.
We got finish on yesterday. It's now cured for around 18 hours. Close to 24 maybe, close. Sadly, there's always some setbacks in anything that we do. So we needed some bigger needles to spray the paint. We found that out the hard way, but we bought them. They were supposed to be shipped today, but it decided it wanted to snow. So we're worried that they might not come today. But rather than letting that hold us back, we're not gonna let that hold us back, are we? No. Hype me up a little bit, would you? I'm drowning. We're not gonna let that hold us back.
No.
So what we're gonna do instead is start putting some of our faces on that we can put on. We know that we can put some of the smaller single units together. So we're able to put this on, then get the drawer faces on the actual boxes. That way come install day, we don't have to be doing that there on site. It's all gonna be good, kosher, going quick, hopefully speaking. So that's what we're gonna work on now. I am drowning here.
You're doing great.
Let's fucking get it.
So this right here was back in December when we were putting these face frames on. And honestly, this was one of the few parts of the build that just worked the way it was supposed to. And after everything I just talked about with install, the fridge panels, the pantry issues, it felt like we were fighting this project more than we wanted to. So looking back on this part, this was kind of a breath of fresh air. We use lamello fasteners on these, and it's something we've used before and always liked. They're simple, they're clean, and for face frames especially, they just make the process feel way more controlled. You're not trying to force anything into place, you're just lining it up, locking it in, and it comes together how it should. And I think that's why this part stuck with us so much, because at that time, we needed it, even if it was just one part of the build where everything actually clicked. This whole project was a good reminder of where we're at. Touch of Spice, the commission work, that's what drives everything we do. These builds come first, no matter what. And especially on this one, being around December with deadlines and everything stacking up, there were a lot of moments where we weren't thinking about filming, and we were just focused on getting it done. Whereas KinCraft's the side of things, being able to share it and document it, and that's something we've really come to enjoy. But it's still something we're learning how to balance, because at the end of the day, if it comes down to getting the job done right or getting the footage, we're going to get the job done right. So when we look back at the clips like this, where things were going smooth and we actually had a chance to capture it, it's a good reminder of why we want to keep doing both. And luckily here, this part came together exactly how it should.
So, I think in terms of install and build out wise, the island was probably one of the things that went smoothest for us. And I would assume that was probably because it was one of the last things that we did, so we had a good feel of things and how stuff was gonna go. The only problem was finishing it was a totally different story. Initially we had a Fiji Semi-Pro 2, and so long story short, it did not have the horsepower to spray paint out of it. And we did not know that until after we already sprayed one door and realized we messed up. And so long story short, we ended up going to our Sherwin-Williams rep, telling them our story, and they said, hey, you don't have the right gun. And so we ended up buying a Titan HVLP spray gun that is a 6-stage, 11 horsepower gun that sprayed this stuff on like butter. We used a Gallery Series top coat in the color blue that they had chose. Other than that, this actually probably went the best for us.
So like I was just talking about with the island, the build side of things actually went really smooth there. Everything fit how it should, went together clean, and it actually felt like we were on track. But even with that, we were still dealing with issues on the finishing side. The sprayer gave us problems. We ended up switching it out and getting a new one just to keep things moving. So it felt like every time something was going right, something else popped up that we had to work through. And that was literally the rhythm of this whole build. This here was back in the shop working on the drawer fronts, and unlike the face frames, these definitely made us work for it. Getting everything lined up, keeping reveals consistent, making sure nothing shifted on install. It all sounds simple, but it took way more time and attention than we ever expected. There was a lot more adjusting, a lot more stepping back and checking things, making small tweaks just to get everything sitting where it needed to be. But in the end, we got them there, and at this point in the build, that's all we were really after. Just keep moving forward, figuring it out as we go, and get one step closer to getting done. Now let's get back to the house where Tanner can tell you about the laundry room.
So walking back into the laundry room, we can see it's fairly similar to the pantry cabinet as height, wall to or floor to ceiling. It's double. We ran into kind of the same issue with the floor being leveled and it not being exactly 8 or a little over. So once again, we cut them down to 3 inches, maybe a little bit more. I think we had a little bit more movement in here. As well as we had to move the entire cabinet unit itself out. Now you can't see that because we did a decorative panel, but originally it was gonna stop at 24, typical depth for cabinets. And we ran into an outlet on that wall that led to, I believe, their outside lights. I don't know how we missed that looking back, but we did. But we inevitably put a spacer in there that pushed it to where the outlet was right in the middle. We could cut it out without interfering with doors or face frame, which was huge plus. As well as, I think this looks tremendously better than having it stop beforehand. It's in line with your washer dryer. It looks good with the countertop that they chose out, and really is a good looking laundry room and overall very useful room. A lot of storage.
Now jumping back to December, we actually have footage of one of the first hiccups we hit on this install. So this was install day 1, back when we were still filming everything, still thinking we were going to capture the whole process as it happened. But the flooring was in before we got there, meaning we had to cut it out so toe kicks could set in it. You see, the problem with floating floors is that they are designed to move, so whenever you put a bunch of heavy cabinets on top of it, over time they will shift, unlock, and just separate and eventually fail. Not long after this, things started stacking up, deadlines, issues, just trying to keep things moving, and that's right about when cameras got set down. And from that point on, it wasn't about filming for KinCraft anymore. It was about getting the job right for Touch of Spice. So, let us know down below. How did we do?
And just like that, we got it done together. And so, again, a build like this, without any knowledge of it, you're gonna have issues, you're gonna run into them. What matters is that you're able to overcome them. You're able to do it in a manner that is good for yourself and your client. And ultimately, again, we took a break from filming on this by the end of it due to the stress levels, due to the time frames, and ultimately focusing on where we have to right now. Now, the flip note of that is we've actually truly enjoyed this journey in YouTube. We've truly enjoyed seeing sub accounts rises, seeing people like our videos, commenting and getting to comment back with y'all. It's been truly amazing. And so ultimately, KinCraft will continue forward, and we're gonna do a lot better job getting footage along that journey, whether it be good, bad, ugly, redone, indifferent, I don't know, but we're gonna get footage of it going forward for you guys. Ultimately, Kitchens, what you thought?
I'm not opposed to doing another, maybe not to this scale, and we'll see in the future how we feel. Overall, we're not cabinet makers, we are furniture makers, but KinCraft is all about, you know, trying something new, having fun while doing it, and overall trying to learn alongside you guys. But we do have a newfound respect for cabinet makers who do this day in and day out and truly do it amazing.
Yeah, so I think in the meantime, thank you to you guys that are watching. Thank you to our clients for trusting us with this. And in the meantime, let's get it.